That day was a typhoon with a heavy rainstorm. Yet, my cook, Maya Wendell, arrogantly threw $15 at me. "Stop lazing around all day. Go buy me a baking soda. I want them." I couldn't help but feel stunned by her attitude. I held back my anger and reminded her not to forget who she was. However, she became even bolder. "Didn't you know that a mother's status is determined by her child? I'm pregnant with your husband's child. My baby will be the heir to the Blackville family's business empire. So, why don't you try to make me happy now?" I became mad, pointing at the door as I told her to get out. My cook immediately threw herself into my husband's arms, crying and twisting the truth. My husband's heart ached for her. He seemingly forgot that I was his wife. Instead, he joined the cook in scolding me for being ridiculous. Looking at the smug cook and my husband, who had forgotten his place as nothing but a son-in-law, I couldn't help but laugh. "So, you cheated on me. Fine then. But you even think of letting your illegitimate child inherit my fortune? You've gone truly mad." I had just taken my vitamin to keep my pregnancy and was sitting comfortably on the sofa while I was reading a book. However, Maya didn't even bother to knock on the door. She rushed in, tossing $15 to me. She said sternly, "Stop lying here without doing something all day long. Get your ass up and buy me a baking soda. I'm making chicken wings and need baking soda today." I stared at Maya and felt shocked before I directed my gaze at the heavy typhoon outside the window. For a while, I even had no idea which one was the cook and which one was the mistress, Maya or me. Ever since I became pregnant, my tastes had grown more selective. It was Maya's food that only attracted my taste buds. Thanks to this, she became more arrogant and behaved less like a cook would behave. Nevertheless, this was the first time she had ordered me to buy groceries like that. I restrained my anger, though my tone was firm. "First of all, I'm heavy with a baby and would rather focus on keeping my pregnancy safe. Even if I weren't, you shouldn't ask me to do things like buying groceries. And with a typhoon outside, it's unsafe to go out. Besides, chicken wings coated with baking soda aren't healthy. I can't eat them while pregnant. Just go to the kitchen and look around. There should be something else you can cook instead." I thought Maya would sense my irritation and leave. However, she rolled her eyes without hesitation. "I didn't make these chicken wings for you. Mr. Blackville told me today of how much he missed his mother's baking soda-coated chicken wings in his childhood, so I decided to make them." "You're a lazy woman. It's fine if you can't cook, but now I'm asking you to buy Mr. Blackville a baking soda so that I can make him a dish he likes, but you become upset. Get your ass off now. I'm giving you a chance to mend your relationship with Mr. Blackville. It's just a light rain. Your body is too big to be blown away by the wind." No matter how patient I was, I couldn't hold my patience anymore. "Maya, you'd better know your place. Are you the cook, or am I? Is this your home or mine? Since you've really helped us for the past 2 years, I can overlook today's matter. But if you," before I could finish, Maya snorted, cutting me off. "Don't think you're the queen mother just because you're pregnant. Your family is mine. Don't forget, this is the Blackville family, Mr. Blackville's family. You're just Mr. Blackville's liability. You're not much higher than me. I just told you to buy groceries when the rainstorm hits to help you exercise. Do you know that this is about the survival of the fittest?" Chapter 2: Only the strong were worthy to bear Mr. Blackville's child. If you're not strong, why would you force yourself to keep the baby alive like this? Even if you survived until the birth, it would not be any good. Besides, you will have no idea about how long you could live. So you'd better buy me a baking soda now. That way, you could make Mr. Blackville happy and make him feel less disgusted with you. Besides, you can find out if your flappy belly could withstand the test of birth." Maya's sharp tongue attacked me like a machine gun. I had no idea what happened to her, but I knew that anger wasn't good for my health. Especially since I was already feeling a slight cramp in my lower abdomen. So, I made a gesture at the door and said in a trembling voice, "You are fired now." Get the hell out of my place. Even after I mentioned fired, Maya was not scared. Instead, she just removed her apron and tossed it on the floor and sat on my sofa. Well then, go ahead and fire me. But if you wanted me to leave, you need to ask the baby in my belly if he's okay with this. I ended up in a daze. What did Maya say about the baby in her belly? Could that mean something? Before I could think of something, Maya told me bluntly, to be honest with you, I'm also carrying Mr. Blackville's child. My thoughts were scrambling. You and John. Since when have you been with each other? Maya let out a smirk. Don't get upset. Both Mr. Blackville and I were truly in love. I just met Mr. Blackville a little later than you did. If I had met him before you, you would not have had any chance at all. As Maya talked, she caressed her belly proudly. Sadly, love has no first come, first served rule. My baby is just half a month younger than your soon-to-be short-lived baby. But my baby will be different than yours. Since I'm a strong woman, I'm carrying a strong and healthy son. Eventually, I found out why Maya had changed drastically in recent times. I was under the assumption that she was confident that I was unable to live without her, so she took herself too seriously. It turned out it was not I who could not live without her, but John. I held my book really tightly. That explains why you told me to go out during the typhoon. Yeah. Maya arrogantly said, I was telling myself that if you just did what I told you, the best thing would be you falling and miscarrying the baby. If it ended up with two dead, that would be perfect for me. Actually, I already hated you from the first day I became your cook in the Blackville family. You're just a privileged woman who married into a wealthy family, but you acted like some royalty and were being picky with what you eat. You'd act up once dinner is served. I hated people like you the most. So even if you died right now, I won't feel bad at all. Besides, you have already lived well for years. Maya kept talking. However, I refused to listen to any of it. But I did not want to listen. Although my stomach hurt, my heart hurt even more. After all, both John and I had been friends with each other for almost 20 years, dated for 10 and ended up marrying for 3. Even if we were not childhood sweethearts, our relationship had always been very stable. Indeed, John was good-looking. Before we started dating, young girls often asked for his social media handles, but he would always refuse outright. Sorry, I'm already seeing someone else. Once we began seeing each other, John gave me a strong sense of a secure relationship. He would never set up a password on his phone, never call someone without my knowledge, and always respond to everything I asked for. Especially after we got married, we were together almost 24 hours a day. Everyone praised us that we were so close, as if we were conjoined twins, saying this was what true love was supposed to be. Chapter 3. In the past, I would have thought that John would still be my special one even if every man in the world cheated. Unfortunately, reality had a way to slap me in my face. After calming down and thinking it over, I started to realize that both he and Maya had indeed been a little too close. I was an anorexic. That made me to be very picky about my food. However, Maya's cooking happened to match my taste perfectly. Thanks to this, whenever Maya made me, John would say, "Babe, people who are good at something will always have tempers. Don't get mad. I'll try talking to her and make sure that she knows who she really is here." From then on, Maya's behavior changed a lot. She acted more politely towards me. Thanks to her food plan, my condition became much better. Then, I successfully got pregnant. When I got pregnant, John was overjoyed. To make me eat more, he spent his days in the kitchen instead of the office. Thinking of this now, I felt it was laughable. Before, I thought he was in the kitchen for me. Now, I understood that he had only been using kindness to hide his affair. When Maya saw how my face turned pale and not speaking, she looked even more pleased. Now, you're feeling afraid, huh? Didn't you just tell me to get out and fire me? If the short-lived baby in your belly dies, the one in mine will be Mr. Blackville's first child. Since he truly loves me, he'll treat the child well. Even if your child is born, it obviously won't make any difference. The baby will take after the one who raises it. Since I'm very capable, my son will definitely be as capable as I am. But you're useless, your getting pregnant is just wasting space. My son will be the one to inherit the Blackville family's business empire. So you still think of firing me? Isn't that laughable? I will soon be Mrs. Blackville due to the baby I'm carrying. When I heard her, I shook my head. Maya was wrong. Even though John's last name was Blackville, he was not actually part of the Blackville family. He had only been a poor student whom I supported. Nevertheless, I had been touched by his kindness and determination, so I fell in love with him and ended up marrying him. Still, I was not surprised that Maya was wrong. John spent more time at the company than I did. He even looked more like the Blackville Corporation's CEO than I did. When she saw me shake my head, Maya rolled her eyes. So, what's with the pretension? You'd better walk here, kneel, apologize and get me my baking soda right now. If you and your short-lived baby survive, I'll let you stay here for a while since you were nice to me in the past. If not, I'll ask Mr. Blackville to kick you out. I did not waste time arguing with Maya. Since I had more important things to do, I coldly told her, since you like typhoons so much, why don't you go out and feel it yourself? Then, I shouted twice, calling the butler and the bodyguard over. Directing my finger at Maya, I ordered them, throw her out. When the bodyguard and butler came closer, Maya quickly covered her belly and screamed, "How dare you? Do you know who I am? How dare you touch me?" When the two did not react, she glared at me in confusion. "Adeline, have you thought about the consequences of doing this to me? Aren't you and your short-lived child afraid of dying?" The butler and the bodyguard looked at each other, then at me with doubt in their eyes. I did not hide anything. That's right. I forgot to tell you that Maya is carrying John's child. Be careful when you throw her out. Chapter 4. Both the butler and the bodyguard were stunned. When they heard me admit it, Maya looked relieved. I thought you were so powerful here, but it turned out that you were also afraid of Mr. Blackville causing you trouble? That's right. I'm carrying Mr. Blackville's child. When the butler and the bodyguard gave her zero reaction, Maya lost her patience. Let me make it clear. You are working under the Blackville. That means that you're working under me too. I am your mistress, but you dare to treat me like this? Don't forget who paid you. As the mother of the Blackville family's heir, I ordered you to throw Adeline out immediately. Don't worry if Mr. Blackville is upset. From now on, I will be Mrs. Blackville. If you listen to me, I will give you a promotion and a raise. The butler and the bodyguard, staying professional, pinched their thighs to stop themselves from laughing. Maya looked even more arrogant. The baby that I carry will be the heir to the Blackville family's business empire. If I'm upset, he'll be upset too. If my child is upset, the whole Blackville family's business empire will be upset too. Right after she said this, John's slightly tired voice came from the doorway. Who's upset? Before I could say anything, Maya's expression changed at once. She ran into John's arms, tears falling like pearls from a broken string. Mr. Blackville, you're finally home. John glanced at me nervously, as if wanting to explain. But Maya spoke much faster than he could. Mr. Blackville, Mrs. Blackville already knew about us. I know that my status is unequal to yours. I just asked her to forgive me. Although I'm wrong, you and our baby aren't in the wrong. Mrs. Blackville said that I deserved to die and asked the butler and bodyguards to throw me out. Mr. Blackville, both me and our baby would be dead had you not come at the right time. I'm not scared even if they want me to be dead, but I can't let our child die. John, who was feeling overwhelmed, could only scold the butler. What are you making such a fuss about? How could you throw someone out in such weather? Maya was pregnant, so it was easier for her to be more upset. Rather than calming her down, you joined in her fuss. What if something happened? It was a very clever statement. He only said something might happen, but didn't say to whom. Like what I expected, Maya assumed that John was worried about her. She looked at me with more arrogance, even mouthing for me to die. Clearly, I knew that she wanted to make me lose my patience. However, reality wasn't a TV drama. I didn't feel the need to join her silly game of female rivalry. So, I rose from my seat, came closer to John and slapped him hard. I've heard directly from Maya that you and your bastard will inherit the Blackville family's business empire, huh? Aren't you supposed to inform me about this? Or do you think that things like this won't need my consent as the current CEO? Chapter 5. My slap was so strong that John's face turned swollen. John just covered his face, not daring to speak. Maya, like a hen protecting her chick, broke down. Adeline, what right do you think you have to make you slap him? Your husband is your sanctuary. In the past, hitting a husband would have been punished. Did you have any idea about it? Mr. Blackville isn't in love with you anymore, but he still permits you to be Mrs. Blackville because of his promise. How come you're forgetting your status? And you're still shameless enough to say we needed to tell you? What do the Blackville family's affairs have to do with you? I refused to hear Mia, sitting back on the sofa. John, I guess your true love refused to listen to what I just said. Why don't you help me explain to her why she needed to tell me about the Blackville family's affairs? For a long time, John stammered, making him unable to speak. Maya eventually found out that something was off. Her face turned grim while she kept asking John. Mr. Blackville, why did Adeline say she was the current CEO of the Blackville Corporation? I burst out laughing. Why? Of course, you only cared about John's surname being Blackville. But you certainly don't know that the real CEO of the Blackville Corporation is actually me. My last name isn't Blackville because I took my mother's family name after inheriting the Blackville Corporation. The John you're obsessed with is just someone who's married into my family. Maya couldn't help but stagger twice, shaking her head as she muttered to herself, "You must be lying. You're just testing me." I'm telling you, I loved Mr. Blackville as a man, not as the family head of the Blackville family. Although she spoke firmly, Maya still clutched John's hand. Adeline is just spouting bullshit, isn't she? Tell me the truth, you're not marrying into the family, right? Mr. Blackville, please say something. John was overwhelmed, but he still knew what mattered most. He pushed Maya's hand away and knelt in front of me. Babe, this was all a mistake. You're the only one I truly loved. I'm not trying to make you forgive me now, but you need to think about our child and not be so angry. I almost laughed aloud. Why? When you cheated on me and impregnated her, why didn't you think about our child then? Or are you saying your child is just as cruel and ungrateful as you are? When I said ungrateful, John's face changed. It was clear he was a bit mad. But he didn't lose his temper. He just gritted his teeth and said, Adeline, that's it. Didn't your father have dozens of bastards, too? But it was you, the legitimate daughter, who eventually inherited the wealth and the Blackville family's assets. If your father could do it, I could do it too. No matter how many bastards I have with other women, both you and our children would always come first in my heart. You should have known that all men in the world are actually the same. I've behaved like a perfect man for you. You should be satisfied. Just consider what you and your mother went through before. Although the John who stood in front of me looked the same as the man I had known, it was as if I saw him for the first time. I couldn't help but scoff. My dad did have lots of affairs in the past, but he got money at the very least. And what do you have? John tried to talk again, but I didn't want to hear it. Instead, I waved to the bodyguard. Kick both of them out. Let them realize who they really are. The bodyguard didn't hold back and threw John and Maya out. It was storming outside. Soon, Maya fainted. John knew I wouldn't let them both in. Not to mention, her condition required her to be hospitalized. After hesitating for a moment, John drove away with Maya. Once he left, I slowly calmed down from my anger. Still, the pain in my abdomen grew worse. The butler immediately wanted to call a doctor, but I waved him off. Chapter 6. Bring me to the hospital. I must abort this baby. Clearly, the butler didn't dare to interfere with me and quickly arranged a limousine to go to the hospital. While Maya had said many wrong things, she was right about one thing. My body was not suited for having a child. Still, I had no idea why I could get pregnant. Even after I had taken precautions, it still happened to me. When I first found out, John was so happy that I gave up my idea of ending the pregnancy. But thinking back now, he wasn't happy about the child itself. He was happy that I carried his child, which meant my entire fortune could become his. The only thing I could do was to accept it and let it go. The one in my belly wouldn't be any good. Besides, I wasn't that desperate to bear a child. Destiny might have agreed with my choice. As I rode to the hospital, the typhoon outside suddenly stopped. Somehow, the trip became safe and quiet. Before going inside the operating room, I made one last call to the bank and canceled every card under my name. After that, I turned off my phone and went in. For the next 2 weeks, I stayed in the hospital to recover. I thought John would come to me when he ran out of money, giving me the chance to file for divorce. But he never came. He didn't even come home. I was left confused, but I reminded myself that my health was my greatest asset, so I waited and did nothing. The day before I was supposed to be discharged, my assistant called me. "Miss Anderson, I know you're still in the hospital," she said. "But if you don't come now, the company will replace you. Please hurry up, Mr. Blackville has gone crazy." I left the hospital half a day early and rushed to the office with my bodyguards. Because of my pregnancy and recovery, I hadn't been to work for more than 3 months. The entire front desk staff had been replaced. When I tried to enter, they blocked my way. "Miss, do you have an appointment?" one asked. In that moment, I understood everything. I knew why John hadn't asked me for help. I knew why he was so confident. This was his plan from the start. It became clear that my pregnancy was not an accident, but it was John's scheme all along. I hated myself for being blind, for failing to see his true intentions. But I was also thankful I found out in time. If Maya hadn't lost control and exposed things, I might have returned after giving birth, only to find the company already in John's hands. And that would have been the best outcome. The worst case would be that my body failed to give birth or I had complications during labor while Maya took care of me. With my mother abroad, John would be the only one able to sign to save me, and I couldn't trust that he would. The thought made my whole body shiver. I didn't bother arguing with the front desk. I identified myself, and with the help of my bodyguards, entered the building. In many departments, it was also the same with the front desks. Almost all of them were new faces. I forced myself to stay calm and asked the few familiar employees, "Where's Mr. Blackville?" No one dared speak. They only pointed, their hands trembling, toward the conference room. I quickly walked to the door, just as John's excited voice came from inside. Chapter 7. I know that you all had the same thought as I am. A woman trying to control us men just because she's born into a rich family was clearly going against the natural order. Besides, this company and its affiliates belong to the Blackville family, Adeline's father's family. And it can also be mine as I'm John Blackville. Indeed, Adeline is the CEO of the Blackville Corporation, but we can push Adeline off the board and out of the company for good if all the remaining shareholders stand by me. All of you know how much I've given to the company, while Adeline just stayed home for months to take care of her pregnancy. If I had not saved the day, your year-end dividends wouldn't make you happy. That's why I'm the only one who can be the CEO of the Blackville Corporation. If all of you side with me, I swear to you that I'll give a higher and better result than what Adeline has given to you. Even though John spoke with excitement, no one in the room agreed. A few even laughed quietly. I smiled and shook my head. John, what a terrible process of thought. What did it mean to be born into a rich family? If he said that to a poor person, it might work. However, he was facing the shareholders. Indeed, a number of them came from poverty. Nevertheless, most of them had family connections. So, while John spoke against me, it did not sound the same to them. Just as John was about to keep talking, the bodyguards opened the door and let me in. I let out a grin. John, I never think that you can imagine very far. The moment John saw me, he was shocked. Aren't you supposed to be in the hospital, having a threatened miscarriage and protecting your pregnancy? So, how come you're here? I couldn't help but shrug. A child? I did not need to keep a bad one. Besides, the company was about to be taken over by a fucking asshole. How could I not come? My words were harsh, especially to John, who had been used to being praised. He glared at me, teeth tight. Can you stop making trouble? You forced me into this, Adeline. I only made the same mistake as your father, but you were so cruel that you blocked my account. So what? Are you still under the assumption that I'm that orphan who lived on your money? You're wrong. I'm not that John anymore. I'm more suited to be the CEO than you. But don't be sad. You can still be a shareholder and get dividends. I could think about letting you return to the company for some unimportant work once you gave birth to our baby. When I heard it, I could not stop laughing. John, you knew my father was a playboy with dozens of bastards. You knew my parents had been apart for decades. So tell me, did you ever think about how I rose from those dozens of children, inherited all my father's wealth and took control of the company? John froze. When I sent him abroad to study, he did not know about the bloody events after my father's death. Everything had already been decided once he returned. I had taken all of my father's wealth, removed all the bastards and quickly took over the company. Chapter 8. I looked at John and gave a signal. The bodyguard stepped forward and pulled him from the board chair. I sat on my chair and kept speaking. My success was not because I was the legitimate daughter. It definitely was not because my father liked me. In fact, I had always relied on myself. As soon as I finished, the shareholders stood up and clapped. I told you, Miss Adeline Anderson is not the kind of woman who would give up the company after having a child. What you said reminded me of the past. You're still the same person you were back then. You've been through so much, so how could you be trapped by a man? And you were born into a good family? That's funny, John. After all, you only studied intensively for more than 10 years, so how could you compare with our families who had done business for generations? No matter how slow John was, he could see these shareholders were siding with me. He shook his head, muttering like Maya that day, impossible. You could not do this to me. I was a hero to this company. Without me, there would be no company today. I made this company better. If you dared to fire me or push me aside, the company would go bankrupt. I laughed out loud. No wonder John and Maya ended up together. They probably read the same novel. I smiled and threw a divorce agreement at him. John, you're indeed capable. But what the US lacked least is capable people. Even if you're a prodigy, the US has 140,000 prodigies just like you. Also, stop praising yourself. You can help the company only because you stood on my shoulders. Without me, who would respect you? Without me, you are no one. John wanted to speak again, but I told the bodyguards to kick him out. John, you'd better sign the divorce agreement as fast as you can. This is my last piece of advice to you, thinking about our past. Since he was fired and I had taken some of his assets, John did not dare to cause me any problems. Within days, he returned home, looking beaten. I thought he was ready to accept the truth and divorce me. But when I saw him, I knew I was wrong. John was not all by himself. In fact, he was with Maya. Thinking about it, how could he agree to divorce so easily? Before we married, we signed a prenuptial agreement. John would be left with nothing if we ever got divorced. A man who had gained so much would never want to lose it all. He instantly apologized once he saw me. Adeline, I really knew I was wrong. I was just confused and acted without thinking. I did things that hurt you. Now, I really know I was in the wrong. I swear that I will only love you from now on. I scratched my head in confusion. So, you know that you were in the wrong? So, why are you bringing Maya here? When Maya heard me say her name, she lost control and knelt before me. Miss Adeline, my pregnancy makes me emotionally unstable. I've never meant to cause you any harm. I'm here to apologize. I know you have everything you need and I know you could not keep your child. So, I am willing to give birth to my child and give it to you. I promise I will leave the country after I give birth. I will never see the child again. I only ask that you take good care of the child. Chapter 9. Maya cried as she spoke, acting as if I were the villain who had broken a couple apart and taken their child. But I did not want to be that villain and I did not want to take care of her child. I don't give a damn if you wanted the child or not. If you wanted to go abroad, that's up to you. I've got nothing to do with that. For a moment, Maya stood stunned. But how can I go abroad if you don't give me money? I frowned, not understanding why I should raise her child or give her money. John quickly explained, it's like this, Adeline. Maya is willing to give you her child, so you should at least show appreciation. Your health is never great for having babies, but I don't care if you can't bear one. I'll take care of you really well, better than before. Maya's child will be our only child. I'll raise him well and then he will inherit our company when he grows up. If you treat the baby well, he'll surely see you as his own mother even though he's not your biological child. From now on, life would be like before. You stay home to care for the child and I will take care of the company. I was so enraged that I ended up laughing. What a plan! Maya wanted to go abroad and still asked for my money? And their child was going to inherit the company? Their little plan was breaking apart right in front of me. I sighed. I know what you want, but let me be clear to both of you. It is impossible. My company will never need two ungrateful people like you to inherit it. John seemed surprised by my refusal. After a pause, he said, if you cannot agree to this, I will not divorce you and will drag this out. Don't forget, bastards also have inheritance rights. Even if you go to court for a divorce, I will refuse. I will hold on until you die. If you still want the divorce, however, just give me half your property. I refused to discuss any of it. Instead, I took a file from the drawer. John, look at this first. You will not speak to me like that once you've finished reading it. John looked confused, but he still took the file. After a few gazes, his face changed. How could this be? What did you mean by this? Are you threatening me? I nodded my head. Yes. Either you sign the divorce papers, or I send you to jail for embezzlement. John glared at me as if he wanted to kill me. I found it laughable. Did you really think I knew nothing about the company? I simply valued my health more, so I chose not to speak up until now. Maya did not understand what embezzlement meant and started to bombard John with questions. But he was not patient enough to explain. Instead, he slapped her hard. Shut up. If you had not been so reckless, how could this have happened? John signed with clenched teeth, tossed the papers back on the table and stormed off. Maya held her swollen face, unsure what she had done wrong, but still chased after him. On the day John got the divorce certificate, he looked completely defeated. I looked at the certificate and felt truly happy. By the way, where was your beloved maid? Why didn't she come marry you? I remember she said she really loved you and it had nothing to do with money. Chapter 10. John's face turned pale, then red, but he still answered by explaining, she knew I was divorcing you and would get nothing, so she stole my money and had an abortion. But it works out this way. I have made up my mind. I am going to win you back. I held back a smile and nodded. All right then, let's wait until you get out. I'm just unsure if I will already have children and grandchildren by then. John frowned. What do you mean by out? I did not bother to give him an explanation. Instead, I pointed to the police behind him. Of course, what I mean is out of prison. Finally, John understood what I meant and rushed toward me like a madman. But before he could even touch my clothes, the bodyguards and police restrained him. He was staring at me with such shock. How could you do this? Why don't you honor your promise? You told me yourself that either I sign the divorce or I go to jail. I already signed it, so how could you still do this? I was stunned for a moment, then responded, how can you say I am not trustworthy? You were the one who broke your promises to me, but you expected me to keep mine? Don't you think that's hypocritical? Don't you think I know your real plan? You wanted me to have a child, then kill me and legally take everything from me. With someone like you, why would I keep my word? Besides, I added, what I said was either you sign the divorce or you go to jail. I never said you would not go to jail if you signed it. John understood now, but it was too late. As the police dragged him toward the car, he could only curse me, wishing me a terrible death. In the end, John was sentenced to 5 years in prison for embezzlement. Later, I heard that after he went to jail, he refused to follow the rules and acted like he was still the vice CEO of the Blackville Corporation. He caused so many troubles that his sentence was greatly extended. When I heard this, I thought he deserved it and thought that it was for the best. After all, he had food, drink, and a place to live in prison. If he had been released, his life might have been even harder than it was inside the prison. As for me, I returned to the company and stopped believing in pure love. I focused on making money and finding a chef who could cook exactly to my taste. Luckily, both goals were easy to achieve. The end.